What's going on, y'all? It's your man, Mike Deloach, coming back to you with some more content of a black man in New Mexico. So, if you don't know, I work in the hospitality industry, and, a lot of those people, I feel like they pay more attention to the weather than I do here, but of course they're traveling from one city to the next, where, a lot of people, they may come from Michigan or Montana or Minnesota going, towards the heat in Arizona, and some people may be coming from California going to the East Coast, but whatever the case may be, they're traveling, so they're keeping, paying attention to that weather. And so, the people coming into New Mexico, they're, like I said, they ever mention it to me. It's like, oh, I hear there's gonna be, a storm coming through, a bad weather. And like I said, granted, I don't know what's their final destination, so I'm not too sure how the weather could be, on the east side of the mountains here in Albuquerque or in Tejedas or whatnot, or Edgewood, and even through Oklahoma or whatever, because I hear a lot of people was talking about Oklahoma, but long story short, they made it seem like it was gonna be this big blizzard, you know what I mean, or something synonymous of a blizzard, if you would, you know what I mean, but, this is kind of like the day after, and granted, I'm not driving that fast, it's just the video sped up, but this was kind of that date after the supposed storm that everybody was anticipating, and as you can see, the roads they actually were pretty prepared for this, and that's the thing, they were hyping it up so much. This was, I ain't gonna say the first year, but this was one of the first times I seen them actually get a jump on it. A couple of days before this, the news was talking about how they had the trucks, the salt trucks already, being prepped. You know what I mean? So they were actually, anticipating this or whatever. It's, like I said, as you can see, the roads are not too bad, but like I said, everybody made it seem like it was gonna be this big storm, but. The time that I live here, again, I'm from Georgia, so in Georgia, we really don't see too much snow. Granted, it has snowed, when I left Georgia, the irony in that, you know what I mean? But coming here was kind of like the first time I really seen snow. Like I said, I didn't see snow until I moved here, you know what I mean? And the thing is, a lot of people talk about Denver, being the mile high city, and forget that New Mexico is also a mile high. So, it has that elevation, so it has the potential to get the snow. And even before I turned, you couldn't even see the sandia. That's the thing, the clouds are so gray, you can't even see the Sandia Mountains or whatever, but the thing is, like I said, this is the day after, even though they anticipated it being this big storm. This is usually, kind of like a snow day in New Mexico. Whenever it does snow, usually the next day after, it's not much residue, if you would, you know what I'm saying? Granted, you still see the snow or whatnot, but at the end of the day, it kind of melted by the next day, you know what I mean? And that's usually how it is. It's usually melted by the next day. So it's not a big thing, it does snow, but hey, it doesn't get too cold. It actually got 12 degrees, when I've been in negative weather before, but like I said, this is 12 degrees, so it's not as bad as some other places like, Montana, Michigan, or Minnesota, and, even Flagstaff, like I said, a lot of people go from from those cities coming to Arizona, but, we went to the Grand Canyon one year and actually went through Flagstaff and they got snow, but, it surprised me because I'm like, shit, it actually snows in Arizona, but hey, Flagstaff is 6,000 feet up. So it's that elevation, but again, this is just a quick little glimpse of some of the snow. This is the night version of the snow that we do get here in the city, you know what I mean? And like I said, the roads are not too bad. And like I said, I'm not driving that fast. It's just the video sped up, but I mean, you can somewhat see the lines on the road, but like I said, we don't get feet of snow here in New Mexico or whatever. So just like on this road right here, like half the road has snow, the other half doesn't, you know, and it doesn't even look like it's people, I don't know, like people, like you can tell kind of maybe one or two people driving on the right side, but you know, the other side, it just looks wet, you know. So that's really what it is. And if the temperature does drop some nights, you know, if it does, you know, that wetness, if it does freeze over with the cooler temperature, it does create that black ice, you know, so you definitely want to be careful with the black ice. And you know, one thing that's, I think, synonymous to snow and driving for me, because I grew up in the country, I grew up on dirt roads, so, you know, whenever it would rain, you know, the roads would get muddy and kind of turn into that clay, and just as easy as you can slide in the snow, you can slide in the mud, you know what I mean? So I think growing up in that, driving in that mud kind of helped me drive in the snow too, you know, because a lot of people don't know how to drive in the snow. Don't get me wrong, it's not majority of people, but like I say, how you have that one in every crowd, it's the same thing in traffic. You got those couple few people out of everybody that either think they can just drive through the snow like the roads are clear, you know what I'm saying, and could potentially end up in an accident, or like I said, some people just let their cars kind of slip away from them, you know, may have hit the gas a little too hard, or if your car is light, you know, you definitely want to have something heavy, you know, in the snow, because especially out here, because you got the hills, you know what I'm saying? So I've seen people try to go up a hill before when it snows, and they just been spinning in place because they're in this truck that doesn't have any weight in the back, you know what I'm saying? So there's nothing really, you know, getting down, you know, through that snow to catch that traction, you know what I mean? But again, at the end of the day, like I said, when it does snow, it's nothing too serious. It doesn't last too long, you know. But it's funny that it did snow this past weekend, because things were just starting to open up, you know what I mean? So I think this was kind of God's way of still trying to slow people down, because I saw how a lot of people were getting antsy and ready to get out and about with things opening up, you know. So like I said, I think God kind of said, hey, you know, pump your brakes, don't, you know, jump out there too fast, you know. But again, just a little quick daytime, nighttime version of, you know, what you can see when it does snow here in New Mexico. But like I said, this your man, Mike Deloach, you know, coming back to you with a black man in New Mexico. So by all means, subscribe to the channel, you know, hit that notification bell so you can get those new uploads whenever we drop them as well, you know. So stay on top of that as well. But until next time, we'll holler back. But in the meantime, you gotta put in the work. You gotta get on your job. You gotta get on your job. I put in work. You better get on your job. You better get on your job. I put in work. You better get on your job. Yeah, you better get on your job. I put in work. You better get